This is a very special interaction we are having on ET Now, our New Year's special series, which you've been watching on the channel last couple of days. Today, we thought of taking a break from the regular business chat, money's chat, which we keep on having on ET Now, and talk about life and how we all can lead our life much more efficiently. We have with us a leadership mentor, global leadership mentor, and author of over a dozen books, Robin Sharma, who's chatting with us today on the channel. Robin, thank you so much for time and joining us on ET Now.
Pleasure to see you again, Ajay.
So Robin, last time we spoke about the 5 a.m. club and how the brain functions so efficiently if you get into the practice of getting up early and plan your day, etc. So I'll take the discussion forward. And I would like to know from you, what are some of the high performance practices? Because your clients range from all kinds of sectors, music, business, athletes. How are some of them so high performers in life? What are those practices which they observe, which in India also viewers who are listening to us can adopt in life?
Well, it's a great question. And the first thing I would say is every professional was once an amateur. And the thing about a master is they always think like a beginner. So what I'm suggesting is one of the key practices of the best entrepreneurs, the best leaders, the best athletes, is they always protect a white belt mentality. Because I think, especially as a business person, the moment you think you're successful and undefeatable is the moment you're on the path to obsolescence. Number two, I've got to talk about morning routine, the 5 a.m. club. Many of the best understand that we live in the world, an age of dramatic distraction. And an addiction to distraction is the death of your creative production. So we are in a war, and it's a war against interruption and broken focus syndrome. So getting up early to think and plan and prepare yourself for the day with exercise, meditation, prayer, writing in a journal is really powerful for elite performance. What else? Rest. Many executives wear as a badge of honor that they're exhausted and overwhelmed. But let's remember the science, especially some of the work of the Energy Project. We do our best work when we are rested. And the best performers are not like marathoners, they're much more like sprinters. So it's really important to get great rest. Rest is not a luxury, rest is a necessity. Few other things is for the elite performers, they understand the difference between fake work and real work. Really important point. I believe I have in the Everyday Hero Manifesto, my latest book, there's a method I teach called the 5 great hours rule. And I think for an entrepreneur or a business person, all you need to do is work 5 hours every day because it's the intensity of the work versus the number of hours that you work each day that's most important.
Mm-hmm. Robin, between last time and this time, the unfortunate advent of COVID also happened. Good that, thank God, it passed. But it had a very big toll on human life and on also the stress levels of citizens across the world, I would say, not only in India. And hence the importance of acknowledging and managing mental health and stress, all of that has come to the table now. What would your advice be to handle stress in life, which is ever increasing in our daily lives?
I'm just going to get tactical, Ajay, if I may. Here's a game changer. Start your day with 20 minutes of sweaty exercise. And let's go to the neuroscience. That will release serotonin, the feel-good neurochemical that much helps you with stress. Sweaty exercise will release BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which will allow your brain to process better. Sweaty exercise first thing in the morning increases dopamine, the inspirational neurotransmitter. Sweaty exercise first thing in the morning reduces cortisol, the fear hormone. So sweating first thing in the morning through running or an elliptical or skipping is transformational. Number 2, I'm going to go to prayer and meditation. We're here in the land of meditation and prayer. So starting our day with some prayer and meditation will calm us down. It'll make us more intentional. Again, it'll reduce the stress hormone. Number 3, writing in a journal. Society tells us to be busy all the time. But writing in a journal will allow us to relax. If we're feeling angry, if we're feeling scared, if we're feeling stressful, writing gratitude in a journal will really calm us down. The father of positive psychology, Martin Seligman, did a research study, and he found that having people record 3 good things that happened to them during the day before they went to sleep dramatically reduced depression and anxiety. So deliberate gratitude in a journal. And a final tactic is being in nature. If you look at a lot of the most productive people, creative people, great artists, great entrepreneurs, they were walkers. They would go for an hour or 2 or sometimes 3-hour walks, and often in nature. So those are 4 tactics to reduce stress.
Interesting, very interesting indeed. Robin, what are your thoughts on fame and fortune? The reason I ask you that is that India is the youngest country now in the world in terms of average age of our citizens coming down. More and more working age young people are joining the working age. I was reading somewhere that almost 30,000 people every day retire in the West, whereas 28,000 people every day are joining the workforce in India. But with these youngsters which are coming into the market, if I may say so, their ambitions, the way they look at fortune and fame or go after it, what would your advice be, and what are your thoughts on this matter?
There's a chapter in the new book, The Everyday Hero Manifesto, that talks exactly about this. And the chapter title is Fame and Fortune for a Line on Your Tombstone. And it comes from the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius. And he said, look at all these great generals. They've sought applause and they've sought fame and fortune for what? For a line on a tombstone and their name on a date on a calendar. So what I'm suggesting is there anything wrong with applause in the world? We all want the applause of our peers. But fame and fortune is very fleeting. And I think ultimately what makes great leadership and what makes a happy life is not what other people think of you. It's what do you think of yourself? What does your family think about you? What does your family think about you? What do your coworkers think about you? Are you doing good for your clients? So I suggest switch from a pursuit of fame, fortune, and applause, FFA, to an obsession with JPF, joy, peace, and freedom. Because really, ultimately, why do we want the fortune? Why do we want the jet, or someone who wants a jet? Why does someone want to be on a cover of a magazine or have a huge mansion? It's not for the huge mansion, but it's for the feelings we think we will get being in the mansion. Really what we're seeking is freedom, joy, and peace.
But as much as all these things are very important, but it is very difficult to stop on this hedonistic treadmill which all of us are on, and there is a constant quest for money. How much is enough in your view? You work with billionaires who are also racing against time to achieve ever bigger numbers. How is it happening across the world?
Well, you're right. I mentor a lot of billionaires, a lot of the Fortune 100 companies, sports superstars, and I help them get to their next mountaintop. And if they want another billion, I'm happy to do that. That's the great thing about a human life, Ajay. We get to craft it the way we want to. Having said that, I've met a lot of billionaires, and money is all they have. And I've met a lot of billionaires who say, I have everything in the world, but I lost myself in the process. I've met and mentored a lot of billionaires who say, I can have anything in the world, but my children won't talk to me. I've met a lot of super rich people who drink 6 beers every night to medicate themselves because they can't stand their life. And so a lot of these celebrities and athletes and industry titans look like they have everything, and yet they're miserable. And in the Everyday Hero Manifesto, there's a model that really speaks to this, and it's called the 8 forms of wealth. Money is only one form of wealth. There are other forms of wealth I think we should pursue. Family, personal growth, service above yourself.
Excellent. You spoke about mentoring. Do you also have mentors, and why do you think mentor is an important, part of? It should be an important part of everybody's life. Everybody should have a mentor for getting direction or some kind of hand holding in life.
I have a lot of mentors, most of them are dead.
Okay.
So, I mean, I believe reading is a conversation with the author. So my mentors include Nelson Mandela, Marcus Aurelius, Steve Jobs, Vincent van Gogh. I love reading. I have a protocol called the 60-minute student. We live in a world right now where we play with our devices. The latest science says we touch our phone 2,000 times a day.
My goodness.
So just imagine practicing the 60-minute student, put down the phone, stop watching or looking for the scrolling social media, and read a book. So my mentors include a lot of the great people, the women and men of the world through their books. My dad is 85 years old. He was a general practitioner for 54 years, family physician. He's from Jammu, Kashmir. Huge mentor in my life. And yes, I think mentorship is incredibly important because it can collapse the timeline. All it takes is one conversation with one person who's done it, who could say, here's a strategy, here's an idea that completely revolutionizes your business, your career, and your life. So mentors are terrifically important. I also think mentors can give us new frames of reference. So you talk to a great mentor, they can save you years and open up new universes of possibility.
So mentor is a very critical thing, and everybody should look for a capable mentor and then follow the advice, you would say.
Sure, through audiobooks, through podcasts, through shows like yours, through books, fantastic ways to receive mentorship. I would also say you are your own best mentor. I think some people fall into the trap of looking for a guru, and I'm not disrespecting anything, but we all have incredible wisdom deep within us, and often what we do is we escape asking ourselves the deep questions. We escape instinct is so much more powerful than intellect. If you look at many of the best businesses, they were done by people who followed their own instinct on the new idea or the opportunity. So let's not forget our own ability and our own inner wisdom.
And what are the other peak efficiency or accelerators which you talk about in this book? What are those practices?
Well, the Everyday Hero Manifesto is 101 chapters. It has hundreds of tactics on elite performance, creativity, leadership, and building a great life. But I'm going to go back to some of the fundamentals, which is the 5 a.m. club and a strong morning routine. The way you start the day dramatically affects the way we live the day. Taking 1 hour, I call it the victory hour, to do 3 things. Number 1, exercise. Number 2, reflect by writing in a journal or meditating or prayer. And number 3, growing, because the leader who learns the most wins is very, very powerful. Second thing I would say is a strong nightly ritual. So often what we do is in the evening, we do things that really cause us not to sleep well, it causes us to waste time. Strong nightly ritual is important. You want to talk about leadership habits, I would say, remember, the job of a leader is to grow more leaders.
Yeah.
So our job as leaders is to go to work, and you talk about mentorship, mentor people to help them see the gifts and talents that most people don't think they know. Another key leadership habit, which is to remember that nothing fails like success. The moment you're at the top of the mountain, you're in the most dangerous position. You know, I was recently in a 3 Michelin star restaurant. I'd been there before the pandemic. The food was magical. The experience was magical. It was stunning. I went back with a little while ago, and the food was mediocre. The place was so different. Why? The chef wasn't there. And to me, it's a great example, which is often someone becomes successful or a company becomes successful, and they stop doing the very things that made them successful because they fall into the trap of thinking that their success will last forever.
Fair point. Robin, you spoke about the importance of keeping away the distractions in life.
Yes.
Higher focus perhaps also means to projects getting completed much more efficiently. In today's everyday life, when electronics and digital, you have so much of distraction, how do your personal practices, what are those? Do you have a social media, you do it yourself, a phone, or how do you keep so much focus and stay away from all this digital distractions?
It comes down to your habits and your structures and systems. I'll give you some. Yes, I do a lot of my own social media. Ajay, number one, once a week at least have a digital detox day. I call it the zero device day. Put your phone in a closet and live life. Number two, don't check email before noon. Number three, turn your phone off after 6 o'clock and have a family meal. Number four, when you have a family meal, don't allow devices. You're with your family. Yeah. Our devices are excellent servants. You can change the world with your phone right now, but they're terrible, but they're not our gods. So I think it's very important, like good digital hygiene. Another key thing is I get lost a lot. So I will, even in my own home city, I will rent a hotel room and get away from the world to work on a creative project. On airplanes, I don't really waste a lot of time. On an airplane, no one can really disturb me. That's a great time for work. If you look at a lot of the great entrepreneurs and if you look at a lot of the great artists, they had studios or they had work cottages where no one could find them. Winston Churchill, in the middle of World War II, he would retreat from London and he would go to Chequers, the official country residence of the English Prime Minister. And he would walk in the garden and smoke cigars and renew and think. What I'm suggesting is find a place that you can go to, which is your sanctuary, where you can do real work and recover and do deep thinking.
Deep thinking, that's a very good word. Robin, you also speak about the importance of having a beautifully balanced life. And we have everything but balance in our life, either too much work or too much relaxation or too much this or that. How can we have almost everything in almost the right proportion and try to have a balanced life?
Comes down to your schedule. So show me your schedule and I will show you your values. A lot of the elite business people come to me and say, oh, fitness is really important to me. I understand that health is the crown on the well person's head that only the ill person can see. And yet on their schedule, there's not even one workout. Some CEOs come to me for mentoring. Family's first for me. Show me your schedule. It's all meetings, golf. I'm not judging, just reporting. Sure. There's no private dates with their children or significant other. So in the Everyday Hero Manifesto, there's actually a chapter on it where I explain what I call the weekly design system. And it's a one-page weekly plan. And part of the magic is you not only schedule your work commitments on this one-page plan for the week, but you put in your times for meditation at 5 a.m., you put in your times for exercise, you put in your times for reading, you put in your times for quiet, you put it all on a schedule so you get it out of your system so you can focus on what's most important in the day, and then you look at the planning of your days. But you institutionalize balance on your schedule because the things that get scheduled are the things that get done.
Robin, out of all the other practices, there's a lot of emphasis now on the communication practice because we are communicating, or the lack of it, be it at work, be it in family life, in personal life. How can we be better communicators, be it written communication? There are every day, at least in our office and in my own life, a lot of people say, sorry, I didn't mean to say this, but the written word had that, or I didn't mean to say that. So efficiently, the message which is intended to for a person, that is not coming out. It's all getting lost. How can we all be better communicators in your view?
We can become better communicators by practicing. It sounds very simple, but we get better at the things we consciously practice. If you look at Kobe, he would get up at 4 in the morning and consciously practice because games are won before you step onto the court. But very few leaders consciously practice their communication skills. Well, that's like saying I want to be a chess champion, but I don't want to practice. So some tactics. Number one, remember that the best communicators are brilliant listeners. We live in a world where people speak in monologues. Focus and practice on listening. That's a great way to honor people. Number two, we're so sloppy generally with our words. Work on being more precise. Use the words of hope as a leader. Use the words of leadership, not the words of victim speak, like I can't and I hate that and this is sick. I'm sick of this client. Those kinds of words are toxic. Third thing I would do is study great speeches. Fourth thing, read. If you look at the people who read a lot, they have a great vocabulary. If you have a great vocabulary, you have access to so many more words to make your point more precisely.
Robin, you have a lot of followers here in India. Last time we got some very good reviews about our interaction. And this is a special telecast for New Year's, right? So everybody has a New Year list, either a travel list or a go-to list or some bucket list. What I want from you today is if you could share a couple of names or your list, what are the books on your reading list, which you would also recommend to our viewers today?
Wow, what a beautiful question. I would say The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. I would say Walter Isaacson's biography of Steve Jobs. I would say Nelson Mandela's autobiography, if you really want to read about a heavyweight leader. I would recommend Jonathan Livingston's Seagull by Richard Bach, which is not a book about a seagull. It's a book about trusting yourself and your instinct and flying higher than the flock.
Oh, great. That's a good list. So how many days are you in India this time around? And between your last visit and this visit, do you see any changes? Is India becoming much more vibrant?
India grows and grows, to state the obvious. I'm delighted to see how India is on the world stage at the level that it's at. I mean, I'm really delighted that it's become such a great powerhouse. And being in Mumbai, always an exciting, electric city. And how many days I'm here? I'm here for another 4 days. I wish I was going to stay longer, but I'm giving 2 leadership presentations, and then in a few days I'm on a flight to the next location.
All right, Robin, thank you very much for your time today. Always great to chat with you. There's so much to learn. Our viewers, I'm sure, would really enjoy this interaction. Thank you very much.
Always a pleasure, Ajay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.